Santiago, Chile. Married couple Ima Quezada and Ramon Martinez were among the first to set up shop in a small indoor market in Villa La Reina, a working-class suburb on the eastern flank of Santiago in the shadow of the Andes Mountains. That was 45 years ago. Today, at 74 and 78, they still tend their grocery stall, but out of economic necessity rather than any desire to remain in the labor force into their twilight years. Ramon's pension just isn't enough, said Quezada. We have no choice, we just have to carry on working, she sighed. Many of Chile's 3 million seniors are in a similar position. Quezada doesn't see much hope of things changing as a result of Chile's presidential elections on Sunday. Don't like any of them, she said of the candidates. They just look out for themselves, and they're always attacking each other. Quezada's frustration with the economy and politics appears to be widely shared in this South American country that is often held up as a model free market democracy since it voted out its dictator Augusto Pinochet in 1989. In the first round of the elections held on November 19, just 46% of the country's eligible voters made their way to the polls. This continued a trend of low turnout noted in last year's municipal elections, 34%, and the general elections 4 years ago, 49%. Chile abandoned compulsory voting for registered voters in 2012. Sunday's election is a runoff between conservative billionaire Sebastián Pinera, who took nearly 37% of the vote in the first round, and center-left candidate Sen. Alejandro Gil Lira, who won 23%. There were 6 other candidates in that round. The big unknown Sunday is what role will be played by a relatively new political force, the Frente Amplio, or Broad Front, a coalition of leftist parties and social organizations demanding major political and economic reforms. Led by Beatriz Sanchez, who against all polling predictions received 20% of the vote in the first round of the presidential elections, the front expanded its presence in the 155-seat lower house from 3 seats to 20 and picked up its first senator in the upper house. While Sanchez did not qualify for Sunday's runoff, she has endorsed Gil Lira. Her supporters could put the center-left candidate over the top, in what would be seen as a major upset. But it is unclear whether those voters will turn out en masse to vote for a man seen as a cautious reformer. Chile went to the polls and transformed its legislature. Chile has boasted one of Latin America's fastest-growing economies in the past few decades, and the country has been politically stable with little corruption. While the World Bank considers Chile a high-income country, though, it is also highly unequal. What that means to many ordinary Chileans is that wages and pensions are low, living expenses high, and basic public services, particularly health care and education, of poor quality. Adding to voters' concerns, economic growth has been sluggish in recent years due to a drop in prices for copper, a major export. Citizens' response to these problems has been either not to vote, or to shift to a different party.